So now we just have to go win 8 straight games. I'm heavily optimistic Dolphins in my life in general. You know, this is due to having God, but watching this game, I mean, it is just so frustrating watching this team play. First off, right off the bat, we're going to talk about something. Tua Tagovailoa carried this team. I don't care what anybody says. You guys can write whatever. My hair probably looks a mess right now. You guys can write whatever you want in the comments. Guy went 234 and a touchdown. Guy did what he needed to do. Scored 27 points on offense. The offense was running on all cylinders. So Tua Tagovailoa was not the problem. Sure, he took blame for the snap that was fumbled. It was literally at the top of his head and going 50 miles an hour. I want you to try and catch that snap. Any quarterback that has a snap that's like that bad is going to struggle trying to get it down. And unfortunately, he could not get it down. But this is another... This is the clear problem with the Miami Dolphins. It's not the players. The players are fine. You know, of course, you have Julian Hill and, you know, David Long had a really bad game today. But it's the coaches. You know, it is the coaching, and it's clear as day the coaching. And, of course, you know, right now, the way that we lost, I don't think anybody's going to get fired. I don't think that they fired Greer. But clear as day, when you watch football, or even anybody that knows anything about football, everybody says, you know, look at the Detroit Lions. You build from the trenches first. You build from the offensive line and the defensive line. And what we are seeing with this team, on top of coaching, is that the general manager has refused to build this offensive line and refused to build the defensive line. You have Sealer. He's out for a game. That's just one player. And, of course, you know, we can say, oh, Sealer makes a big difference to this team. Yeah, so does Aiden Hutchinson, but the Detroit Lions still beat losing teams and conquer the trenches. Quick intermission. If you're liking this video, do me that favor. Hit the like, hit that subscribe. Fins up, baby, without their best player, because they've built multiple good players on that squad. Watching this team today, I mean, I've watched it for 3 years. Cannot get pressure on the quarterback. And it was clear as day towards the end of the game. Unless you blitz 8 people, they can't get pressure. Like, they get really close and do absolutely nothing. They get really close and then they get stalemated, which when people want to talk about pressures with Chop Robinson, you have to understand that the offensive line is already going backwards when they are blocking for pass blocking. So you are going to get close to the quarterback. That's the whole thing. It's going to happen with an offensive lineman. They're moving backwards. So, of course, if you're bull rushing them, you're going to get close. But when the offensive line gets their stance right and pushes back, that's the point where a player on the defensive side either cuts loose or gets blocked. And clear as day with this defensive line, they push him back for a second, and then every offensive line that we face shuts him down. Clear as day with Chop Robinson. Sure, he does a quick little bull rush, all of that. Same thing with Jalen Phillips. I'm sorry to say this if you're a Jalen Phillips fan. You do this thing, maneuver, all that. The offensive line moves backwards a little bit, and then they stalemate you. And it happens every single time where these quarterbacks seem to just have all day to throw the ball. And, of course, I'm not looking for sacks on every play, but I'm looking for, on the moments that we need it, do we get pressure? Do we push the quarterback into making bad throws or into doing what he's not able to do? So the teams that we played before, Mason Rudolph, you have, or Will Levis and Mason Rudolph, you have Jacoby Brissett, you have, who's the other one that we just faced? Whatever it is. You have crap quarterbacks that, of course, when they get a little bit of anything in their face, they're going to panic and throw a bad ball. And even then, we barely got pressure on. When you face a Kyler Murray or a Josh Allen or any of these good quarterbacks, if you don't fully get to them, they're going to make a play. And clear as day, it happens every single time. So this defense totally lost us the game. And again, we played a decent quarterback, and this defense totally lost us the game. We scored 27 points. On any good day, on any good team, that's enough to win the game. Honestly, we scored almost every single drive that we had. Towards the end, of course, we couldn't convert on that third down, but almost every single drive we scored on. The defense completely blows up in the second half. I don't know. I don't understand what it is about the Dolphins where it's like one side can work and the other side doesn't work. The other side doesn't work and the other side doesn't work. I don't get that. On offense, it was much better today, obviously, because Tua Tagovailoa is in there. The offense was moving on all cylinders. Yes, there was a couple of bad snaps. So what? It happens. You know, it happens to Joe Burrow. It happens to Josh Allen. It happens to everybody. It happens. But the thing is that we kept coming back and scoring. We kept coming back and scoring, putting the ball in the end zone. The one thing that I do want to discuss is that Mike McDaniel, Tua covers up a lot of Mike McDaniel because he throws the ball very well, very accurately, and gets the ball to open receivers and makes really good decisions. But again, when Mike McDaniel has to, key moments, do something right, he just seems to get in his own way. And I'm talking about the Tyreek Hill fade for the 50th time that never works. And we continue to do that even though we have Jonnu Smith and Odell Beckham on the team. Odell Beckham, who is known, like his name is known because of spectacular catches in the end zone. And you refuse to throw it to these guys, and you throw it to Tyreek Hill, who is a great player, but is 5'9". You're throwing a end zone fade to, and I understand he was held. But the thing is that if you throw that to Odell Beckham, he jumps over the defender and catches that, versus Tyreek Hill, where it has to be perfect ball placement for him to catch the ball. Here's the thing, and what we clearly saw from this game, even though we lost, I'm optimistic. You know, if we pull through Buffalo, then we have a chance to turn this season around. I'm not saying that we do, but we do have a shot. Tua Tagovailoa, not only is he a good quarterback, and possibly a great one, he covers up a lot of holes on this team that people don't want to talk about. He covers up a lot of holes on Mike McDaniel that we don't want to talk about. We just want to say it's all Tua's fault. But clear as day, the way that this offense looked, the way that this team looked when Tua came back on the field, it was completely different. And he seems to make Mike McDaniel look really good. If you want to sit here and say that it's Mike McDaniel that made this guy, just watch another team, honestly. Like, watch another Dolphins team. Me personally, I want this guy as our quarterback. I want Mike McDaniel to get an offensive line, and I want him to start calling the right plays. But most of all, just get an offensive line. Stop having crap guards blocking for Tua where he has to make unbelievable throws. Like, if you watch this game, there were so many unbelievable throws that Tua did to save this team because he covers up a lot of the holes that Mike McDaniel has. If Mike McDaniel had any other quarterback, it would have been horrible today. But Tua does so many things that people don't want to talk about. If you don't like him as a quarterback, watch another team. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You're not going to get a better quarterback than this. You're not going to get Shedeur Sanders. You're not going to get Cam Ward. If you want to get a different quarterback, you're going to get a Newsmeyer who threw 3 interceptions against whatever, the Texas A&M. You're going to get one of these players who is pretty good in college and then is going to come in here and look way worse than Tua. We're going to do the same thing that we've done for years. You have a quarterback that plugs up a lot of holes. You have a quarterback that receivers are basically crying when he gets back on the field because he's so good. Telling you right now, Tua Tagovailoa covers a lot of the holes on this team. And it is purely because Mike McDaniel, great offensive coordinator, can really do a great offensive play scheming, all of that. But play calling, overall, like choosing of the defensive coordinators and just the overall choices on this team, not great. Curtis Weaver, loved him for the first part of the season, but you finally, again, you know, this is what you have to understand with our defense right now is, yes, you stopped a bunch of crap teams from scoring on offense, a bunch of crap quarterbacks from scoring on offense. But again, just like the prototypical Mike McDaniel defensive coordinator, you play a good quarterback and you look atrocious. You can't stop them, and they continually funnel the ball down the field to their best player, and you don't want to cut them off. Most teams are able to, most of the time, cut off Tyreek Hill. You refuse to cut off their number one player. And again, you play a good quarterback, and you get exposed, per usual, on this team. So what I want to end with is that there is still a shot for the season. If we win 8 straight games or 10 straight games, we do have a shot to make the playoffs, 100%. But the main point that I want to make here, and it's going to be for most people that are probably going to comment on this, Tua makes this team. Tua covers up all the holes. Tua makes this team a winning team. If you take Tua off, as you saw, just like all the mishaps that happen on this team today, is that you take him off this team sucks. When you put him back in, this team can beat anybody if they play properly. But unfortunately, they can't put it all together, ever. Why is that? Because of the coaches and because of the coaches' play calling that continually happens throughout this team. Is that when we play good teams, it's not Tua that folds. It's not, because Tua always gives us a shot. Yes, of course, you say Kansas City, sure, played in 0-degree weather, and our Waddle and Tyreek were both with high ankle sprains, had no other players. So it is not that we lose to bad teams because of Tua. It's because of the coaches that we continually get outcoached, and Tua continually gives us a chance to win every time he's on the field. Take it or leave it, hate this video or not, whatever it is, Tua is this team. Tua makes this team. And me personally, I want this quarterback staying. I want them to get an offensive line. And honestly, I want a different coach. And I know it's not going to happen, but the thing that I'm going to say with this is that I strangely feel that if we don't win this season, Tua is going to probably go to another team like the Saints or like the, I don't know, Buccaneers, or, I mean, Buccaneers have Baker Mayfield, or even the Patriots, or one of these teams that have a great offensive line and a pretty decent coach, and he's going to play his lights out. He's going to annihilate us, and he's going to show the Dolphins making another bad decision by emotionality instead of clearly seeing who is the superpower of this offense and who is the problem. Simple as that. As always, fins up, baby. Hard to do it this week, but fins up. Love you guys all. Peace.